and we're just gonna okay, so my robot vacuum just came in the room, and I'm really super hoping that I'm actually mic'd up enough that you don't hear it, but I should probably take care of this before it like hits the camera and knocks everything over. So I'm gonna send you to the intro, but before I do, I'm gonna say hello. I'm Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things and robot vacuums try to attack me. Really? That's fun. So you are here for day 341 of day 365 days of soap, and today is the Soaprentice's turn at the Amy Warden Soap Challenge thing for the Lollipop Swirl, which I loved yesterday. I thought it was delightful. For sure. And I'm interested to see what the Soaprentice does with it and whether or not she thinks it's delightful. Because in general, like, she really likes pull-throughs. She's the one who keeps requesting we do them. Even though she's the one who had like 3 inches of freaking soap in her hand after doing one of them. Like, it pulled out of the thing. But she still likes them. So I'm thinking for column pours, I think she's going to love this one. Right? This is my thinking. But let's go to the video. And let's see if my thinking is at all accurate. Okay, so Georgia May's turn at the Lollipop Swirl is today, and same oil blend that I used yesterday, same scent blend, still playing with the Maple Street stuff, which is super awesome. And yeah, no, yesterday's pour was actually a ton of fun, and I really liked that in the weird, crazy ways that, you know, it ultimately, you know, I was terrified throughout all of that with the whole Lazy Susan and all that jazz. Like, is this a bad idea? But you know, it all worked out, and I really liked my bars. Thought they were super cute. I would see doing something like this in a column. Like, I would do that again for sure. Now look at her batter. Her batter is very, very thick right off the bat. Like, she went well past an emulsion and really mixed it to, we're coming up on like a medium trace if you pay attention to those things or whatever. So I'm a little bit concerned with the overall, like, whether or not she'll be able to get it into the mold quick enough, because you kind of need a thinner consistency batter, as we talked about yesterday with all of this, and hers is already, it's thicker than I would have played with. But I mean, that means nothing, because I just like soap or stopping at emulsion for everything, you know, so whatever. But yeah, no, this will be interesting. Now I'm trying to remember, did the scent accelerate yesterday? Did my soap batter get thicker after we put the scent in? I don't remember. We're gonna see what's going on with all of this. Yes, totally. Now, she did disperse the kaolin clay into the entirety of the batch because we make clay soaps, and so for that reason, that's always a secondary, you know, issue that you're dealing with when you're trying to do, you know, specific design techniques. If you are making clay soaps, well, your batter's going to start getting thicker just because clay. So we're always contending with that with ours, which actually I think is always fun. It's like, it's part of like the challenging part of it, you know. That's fun for me, for sure. But her color palette looks like we're doing like primary colors, right? Red, yellow, blue. It's cute. I'm excited to see this. And, you know, Georgia May actually really likes doing columns. Like, she likes doing pull-throughs, which is, you know, a column thing or whatever. We've done it in a column form 100% of the time, but you can totally do a pull-through in like a regular loaf mold. We haven't done that because that requires, you know, finding a piece of something to pull through it, and then you're tying strings around the side so you can get it out and all of the things. That's always been a big no for me. But, you know, I bought some discs from a company that makes the discs for the pull-throughs, and so that's great. We can totally play with those. We're not doing the pull-through today, obviously. We're doing the lollipop, but I think I talked about it yesterday in that I would be curious to see if you did this little technique, the lollipop swirl technique, into the column that already had so instead of centering your whatever in the middle for a pull-through, if you did the side pours like you do for this technique and the pull-throughs in there and then you pull it up, what kind of patterns that would yield. And so I'm actually interested. I might try that. Like, that might be one that would bring me back to another pull-through, because pull-throughs are still stupid. People still have big opinions on them, but pull-throughs are stupid because I'm bad at them. This one, it was not stupid, and it took basically the same amount of time as pull-through. So, you know, take that for what it is. But yeah, her colors look good. Her batter is actually getting, I don't know, it's getting a little thick. So let's go check out her pour and see, you know, what she does with all of this. And it'll obviously be great because Georgia May is good at all of the things 100% of the time. But that batter is it's getting a little thick. Okay, and on to the pour of this, and this is after she's put the scent in, and look how it's really thick now, and it's also, it looks like it's starting to rise, doesn't it? So, did the scent do that for me yesterday? I don't remember. Now I want to go back and see, because I don't remember that, but I live my life one day at a time at this point, so everything just completely muddies together with the amount. I mean, that's just on the regular, the amount of soaps that we make every day. It's always, what did we do? When did I make? What's happening? Is it Tuesday? Like, whatever. So I don't remember. Maybe somebody else does. But now, as soon as I'm done with this, I'm definitely going to go back and look at mine because I'm curious. Now, assuming you did not watch yesterday's pour, here is kind of the, you know, technique. So she is using the Lazy Susan on the bottom of that, I think. No, she's not. She's not using it. She's just twisting the mold, which is great. You can do that too. But for every little bit of color that she puts in down the sides, and you can see those stripes down the side of the mold, the next color that you put in, you go about, oh, you know, half an inch or so from or quarter to half an inch, and that's like kind of an inch, I mean, whatever, from the color that you just poured, and pour down that row instead. And the idea is, and this is why you want a reasonably fluid batter, is as you were doing these wall pours, it will push the other colors, the other batter that you've put into the mold, into a swirl pattern, right? And so if you're working with really thick batter for something like this, you're not really going to get the swirl effect. You're going to get more of, well, here's a blob of color, and now over here, here's another blob of color, and it's not really pushing the batter underneath, you know, nicely. So I'm interested to see what this looks like in the total cut, and as it gets closer to the top of the mold, seeing like inside, because it looks very, I mean, there could be pinwheel patterns in there. That could be a thing. Sure. Why not? But yeah, no, it's thick batter for sure. And I don't remember what happened with the scent, but just seeing how she mixed it, I would have stopped mixing, about a minute before she did, to keep everything nice and fluid. But as we've seen so many times with these soap challenges, if it's like, if something is, you need a very fluid batter, and you have seen one or the other of us end up with not a fluid batter for any number of reasons. And it looks like she's sort of contending with two different reasons right now. One being the mixing the batter past an emulsion, and two, she's got some ricing. She's got some things going on with the scent. So she's got a double whammy of all of the things right now. And so in those tests wherein it says you should always do it this way, and we show you what happens when you don't, most of the time it still works out. So I'm going to assume that this is still going to work out, and it's, you know, great. But you just saw her stir her batter. This isn't actually something that I talk about a whole lot, and usually I just sort of cut it out whenever we are stirring our batter. But it's soaping in general, it's always a good idea to give your batter just a quick stir before you pour, you know, that particular piece, just to re-loosen the batter as much as you can to, you know, continue on with your pour and make sure that everything isn't just settling. So like when the Soap and Clay Kidlets are helping me make soap, and I have, you know, like 8 or 9 different colors going on, that their most fun job, because they think it's the most important job in the world, is to, and I love it, is to sit there with some of the colors I'm not using and just slowly stir it with a skewer. We're just going to keep moving the batter. And that's also true for bath bombs too. And so like when we're teaching classes or whatever, there will be, you know, 20 kids around a table, and my whole ass job, once like the making of the bath bombs, you know, starts, once the citric acid is in the bath bomb batch, is basically just to walk around, and I'll just put my hand in the bath bomb powder, gloved hand, and then it gets wiped off. You know, I mean, obviously, but I mean, also we're not doing classes with 20 people right now because COVID. But my whole job is just to go around and just give their bath bomb mixture a quick stir while they're playing with the whatever. Just keep it moving so it doesn't start settling and thinking that the container it's in is the mold. And yeah, that. So same thing with soap. I usually cut it out of videos because I don't know. The assumption is, and I shouldn't assume anything in the world, but the assumption is you kind of know, you know, that you should do that, right? But, you know, maybe you don't. Like, so there it is. Yes. And one of the downsides of every time you stir it, it serves the immediate purpose of loosening up your batter, but also you're stirring it. So eventually it's going to just get a little bit thicker every time too. Now, with something like this, if you find yourself with really fluid or really thick batter and you want to do the thing, you could put a little bit of sodium lactate into each of the containers, into each of the, you know, sections, and pour it in, or and it will loosen up the batter temporarily, long enough to do your thing, and that works. You got to be careful with sodium lactate. If you put too much in at this stage, while you can put it in your soap batter, people do it all different ways, and I think I've shown you, you know, putting it in the lye or putting in the soap. You can do a number of different ways for sodium lactate, but if you put too much in, it will do weird. So like the pull through, that video, the pull through, the most recent one, the actual challenge one that we did a few weeks ago, and you saw my bar and there was like weird tunneling going on inside. That was caused by the scent. It was not sodium lactate, because I didn't put sodium lactate in that batch. But that's also that's something that you would see if you end up with too much sodium lactate in your soap batter, for sure. It has that same sort of look to it. So it is what it is. Take that for what it's worth. This batter is so thick. I love Georgia May. I love the Soaprentice so very much. She does so good at everything, and that she's just continuing to, you know, give it the old college try and figure out a way to make it work. So she's doing the banging to push it all around. Very smart. It is very smart. She understands, you know, movement of things though, because she's like a painter, and she's like, so she sort of gets that just sort of instinctively. For me, I don't know that I really would have thought to do that. I would have just been really mad and just started pouring everything in the mold. But she's actually doing a reasonable job looking at what she has going on with this thick soap batter and placing her neck spot sort of accordingly, then also banging it and sort of moving it over a little bit, the mold itself, so she still has some semblance of a pinwheel. And so I love that. That's smart for sure. That's the artist eye, I think, in her, and her ability to, you know, roll with the punches. When things go pear-shaped in a pour, don't throw your hands up. Keep going, figure out how to fix something on the fly, and, you know, still keep playing. Because at the end of the day, it's all soap. As long as you mix it to an emulsion, no matter what you do, it will become soap. And she definitely mixed it to an emulsion. So no matter what, this will become soap. So play, you know, have fun with it, because it is just a bit of fun. And that's one of the things I love so much about the soapy world. It's experimenting and trial and error and playing, and it's still, at the end of the day, something that gets you clean, something that doesn't irritate your skin, something that smells nice, has fun colors, all of the jazz. So don't super lose your mind over any of it. Once you start freaking out about soap, it's usually a sign that it's time to stop making soap once it stops being fun. And so this was still fun, and I super look forward to seeing what her cut is and where everything sort of lines up with all of this. And yeah, she will be covering this, spritzing it with alcohol, covering it up, and it will be C-popped and gelled and all of the jazz, and then thrown into the freezer so we can get it out of the PVC. And yeah, that's all happening. So we're going to go on to the cut and see what all these bars look like inside of this column mold. Okay, and on to the cut of this. Now, as I said, this does get C-popped and gelled, and then it gets put into the freezer so it will actually release. Now, a lot of people have asked me questions about that, like how I prep my PVC molds. I don't spray them with anything. I don't rub them with anything. I don't line them with anything. I just literally pour inside PVC, and then we freeze it. And then once it's been in the freezer for a couple hours, I take it out and I hurl it on the ground a couple times, and everything breaks up. And those are very cute soaps. It's not the Lollipop Swirl for the first two that that kind of is. There you go. Yeah, there you go. That's cool. But it's still pretty even if it wasn't. And see, that's cool too. It's getting there for sure. That's when the batter was, for sure. Yep, that's when the batter was a little bit thinner. That was the bottom of the mold. And that's cute for sure. Now remember, with Amy Warden soap challenges, you just need one good bar. Like, that's the only thing. You need one thing out of a batch for submission, and that's it. So you pick the best one out of the thing, and that's the one that you submit. And it doesn't have the perfect pinwheel whatever going on, which is the thicker soap batter for sure, but is it still a cute bar of soap? Absolutely it is. And does it still smell delightful? Absolutely it does. Do the colors make me happy? Also absolutely. I like the pastels too. It's very interesting that we both decided to pick pastels for the Lollipop. I actually let the Soap and Clay Kidlets pick mine, so this entire month has just been the Soap and Clay Kidlets making my decisions for me, and I love that because sometimes color choices are hard, and so you should always talk to the children in your life, because they always have wicked cool ideas on what you should and should not do, and maybe things that you wouldn't have thought of. But we both ended up with pastels for this Lollipop, which I think is cool. I'm definitely here for that. And they're super, super pretty. I like it, yeah, this is, I guess, one of the ones where you would have and this was, oh no, that's the bottom of the mold. Interesting, okay. The ones she was pulling earlier were the result of her, banging the sides of the mold and like making everything sort of push into a lollipop. So that's pretty cool. Okay, that's good to know. See, look, you can always fix things. Yeah, you can force it to do what you want, or, whatever. But at the end of the day, super cute, super bright, super fun, super lovely scent. And yeah, good job Soaprentice. That's day 341. Yeah, that was all a little bit of foreshadowing there because it turned out Georgia May wasn't the biggest fan of this one, which I found very interesting. Could have something to do with the thickness of her batter though, but as you could see, it still sort of creates a lollipop swirl anyway, and all of the bars are beautiful regardless. So it was super awesome and not bad for her first attempt, or anyone's first attempt at that, at a brand new technique, for sure. Keep that all in mind. You guys are watching the first attempt of things, well, from both of us from time to time, but for her, almost 100% of the time. So there's that. And for that, absolutely beautiful bars of soap. I love them. If you are interested in this, in either one of these, the scent blend on this, really, really good, actually. And it didn't discolor, didn't have any issues with that. So I really do like this one quite a bit. Not that the discoloration changes the scent. It's just, if the smell was great after I poured and the scent, the actual fragrance gave me fits, I would have to really weigh the pros cons of keeping it in the line. The robot vacuum's actually coming back. It just hit the door. It must really want to clean the studio, so I should go and let it do that. But yeah, if you're interested in either one of these, it's at soapandclay.com is the point I was trying to make for all of that. If you're interested in more soapy antics and seeing what other challenges we do, as well as the other scent reviews for the rest of the month for Maple Street, subscribe. That would be epic. For those of you who are subscribed, hey, thanks Sudzer, you're epic. I really do appreciate you each and every day. That will never stop being true. I'm out of here for today. I really need to let that vacuum come in and do its thing. I will see you guys all again tomorrow for another round of soapy fun. Bye.